Sorry, I have to. Sorry, I have to mute myself.
The recording started.
I'm actually at work right
ago.
now, so I can't say it too loud.
That's right. That's right. Very good.
Everyone there already knows. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Zok the Mishnah. Yeah. Mem Beis Amud Aleph. Hamafkir Ma'is Eitzel Chaveiro. So if somebody gives money to his friend for his friend to watch, Soraron, and if he wraps it up, Vivshilon La'acharav, and he puts it behind him, right? Oy Shemasaram Lebenoi Ulabitoy Katanim, or he gives it over to his young children, and then he locked the door, but he didn't lock the door properly. Meaning, if he gave it to his kids to play with it, and he made sure they stayed in the room and they couldn't move, so that'd be one thing, right? But he didn't. So chayiv, he's chayiv. Why? Shaloi shimer kederach hashayimrim, because he didn't watch it like the proper way to watch it. So he is considered negligent. V'im shimer kederach hashayimrim potter. But if the guy watched it properly, meaning the shomer watched it properly, then he's potter. Right? This is assuming that it's talking about a shomer chino. But you have to make sure that he watches everything properly. Fine. So the Gemara says,
"Oh, you just defined what a chaver is. A guy who does it for nothing. If he discharges you, he's not such a chaver."
That's true. I hear that. Yeah. So Zok the Gemara, Frank the Gemara asks, so all these cases, when he didn't watch it properly, but he wraps up the money and puts it behind him. What more should he done? I mean, he's holding the bag of money over his shoulder, let's say. So what's the problem? You're supposed to wrap the money in your hand. Even though that you have them wrapped up, it should still be in your hand. Meaning, don't put it over your shoulder. Because over your shoulder, you're gonna have a pickpocket or something and come by, and just rips it off like this. You keep it in front of you at all times or within your sight lines, and then that's considered the responsible way to watch somebody's money. Fine. Then we get into some Agadata. Your money should always be in your hand. It says you should wrap the money in your hand. A person should have spread out your money. What is it called? The investment? What do they call it? You've been saying, what do the investors call it? You should diversify. Very good. You should have a diversified portfolio, right? So, and it's a pella, because you hear about these Ponzi schemes and you hear that the guy lost all his money with one guy, right? And you wonder, like, what is the guy thinking? Why are you putting all your money? But we get selfish, so we don't think. But the Gemara is telling us, don't do that. Don't spread yourself. I mean, you should spread yourself out.
The original portfolio manager is in the Gemara.
100%. Yeah, and then we have another big one. Bracha is only found with things that are hidden from the eye. So bracha is not found only with something that the eye doesn't see. So basically, those two are the same things. Which bracha is not found only with things that are hidden from your eye. Okay, so then one of the big issues based on this is, should a woman get a sonogram when she is pregnant? Because you say, ain't a bracha Metzia, something that's hidden from the eye. So the pregnancy is hidden from the eye. Now you're taking a machine that will tell you, that will reveal it. So maybe it's not a bracha. And that's one issue, which many poskim are not pro getting sonograms during pregnancy. Seems like the minig in Klal Yisrael is
we had sonograms on my second kid. They asked my wife if she wants to know what the sex of the child is. She said no. However, when she came home, she said to me, "It's going to be a boy." I said, "How do you know?" Because because if a sonogram stam, it doesn't mean you can see anything. So it's only when it's a zachar that you can see the zachar. So then you know for sure that it's a zachar. So when they know for sure, it's only because it's a zachar. When it's a nekeva, it's always a suffix because it could be still a boy also. It just you weren't able to see the zachras. So that's just just an ira on sonograms that if they say they know what it is for sure, so then it's got to be a zachar.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Um,
It's usually the umbilical cord.
What did he say?
see it from the umbilical cord.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever that means. Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
Right.
one of mine, they said it's a boy and it was a girl, but I guess they didn't read it correctly. But anyway, but it was one of those schwache ones. But anyway, so that's one. Another one is that people don't publicize pregnancies. Obviously, at some point it becomes public, but a lot of people don't publicize pregnancies
until the woman is showing.
Until the woman is showing, and then some people don't buy anything, any baby stuff before the baby's born. All sorts of variations of this theme of that it's and it's to keep your mouth shut. Right? There's a lot of ayin horror stuff. There's a lot of ayin horror stuff out there that we've had many gemaras about. Okay, right. Tanarba. Parrots, I'm not sure if this is a song of the daf or not. Tanarba, I look lumbered as garnoy, somebody who's going to measure his gairin to see how he's doing financially. But so before he measures it, that Hashem should send bracha on Ma'aseh Yadenu. Hischil lamud. But once he started counting, meaning once he started measuring, Baruch HaSholech Bracha B'Kri Hazeh, and then if he says then Hashem should bench his piles. Modad V'Achakach Berach. I'm sorry, then he's fine. Meaning if he starts counting and he still makes the bracha, fine. But Modad V'Achakach Berach, if he measures and then he makes the bracha, Harei Tefillah Shav. That is a useless tefillah. A bracha is not found not with something that was already weighed, not something that was already measured, but not anything was counted. Only if it's hidden from the eye. So the same thing. So it's very interesting. Meaning, it sounds like if it wouldn't be for this rule that bracha is not found with something that's hidden from the eye, so then you would be able to make a bracha even after you measured it.
So if I go to check my balance at the bank or online, whatever, with my balance, before I check the balance, I should make the bracha.
Yes.
Then if I get a windfall, I got a windfall. But otherwise I'm stuck with the exact amount that's going to be there. So.
No, that's true. So I'll tell you where this comes up. In practical, if you already handed in your test, like kids ask from high school, they already handed in their test. Can they daven now that they should do well on the test?
Isn't there tefillah shav? Is it what's called?
Well, that's a question. Is it a tefillah shav? See, here the Gemara is saying
after they took the test already.
Yeah.
How could they daven for it? It's already they did it already.
So I'm wondering, maybe the teacher can mark it or mark it better. No?
Maybe if you give the teacher $10, he'll mark it better.
Now you're talking.
We can always hope the teacher had a good coffee that morning, or they had got a good parking spot, so they'll be in a positive frame of mind.
Right.
It probably depends on what kind of test. If it's a multiple choice, there's one answer. It's it. It's either A or B. But if you went to law school and you wrote a whole essay, you could daven. It should be nimtzachin b'einei the professor, and it could be good. So it probably depends.
That's true. That's a good point. But again, I'm just not understanding, because it's not a tefillah shav. Meaning, why is it a tefillah shav? Because you already counted your money, no? Same reason why you're not supposed to daven for the gender of the baby after 40 days, because there's no point. It was already done. Correct? So,
I don't know. In your case, it wasn't.
well, that's I'm saying, but it's a tefillah shav. So here, the reason doesn't seem to be because it's a tefillah shav. The reason is because it's already revealed, and now there's no bracha on it. So there's no point in you making a bracha. So I'm not clear what the problem is. Fine.
The Rebbeinu Bachaya says that the pshat and this is because if it's some way, then a nace could. It's much more likely that we have
For a
these in
nace
the
to happen.
all the time. But if it's already nigla, so then you're davening for nace nigla, that we don't do.
Right,
So
but I hear that. That's
so
interesting.
that's the difference. If you
I hear,
can't
but the
see it, so then stam. It's
but the problem is that it's not a tefillah shav.
when.
Meaning,
Once you already measure, once you know already, then you're asking for a nace. You want
but you could still ask. You might not get the answer, but you could still.
You're saying it shouldn't be tefillah shav. It should be stam. You shouldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
here.
it might be point. It might be you might have ruined your chances, but it's not going to be shoved. Maybe you get a nice nick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, Baita, very good. Thank you. Amar Shmuel, Ksafim ein lem shmira ela b'karka. The only way to properly watch money is to dig it in the ground. Amar Rava, Moed Shmuel be'erev Shabbos ben hashmashos. He's moeded by ben hashmashos, which clearly doesn't mean that you're getting the money ben hashmashos. It means you're getting it right before ben hashmashos. The Rabbanan were not matriach you 2 minutes before Shabbos. Somebody brings you money to watch when they're not going to be matriach you to dig a hole. The Shaha l'Metzia Shabbos, and if you wait till after Metzia Shabbos, shear the makavinu to the shear to bury it, meaning you go on a daf yomi right after Shabbos, and then it gets stolen within that hour. So then you're on the hook because you should have buried it, right? Below kavinu, and you didn't bury it. Mechayev, you're chayev. Bitzur mirabanan hu, and if the guy who gave you the money is a Talmud Chacham, Savar Dilma mibayile zuzi lavdalta. He maybe thinks that the guy wants the money for Havdalah, so that's why he's not burying it, right? Because wait a minute, why would he want to make it for Havdalah anybody else? So because a person is going to want to make Havdalah, so Rashi says if he's a serious person, and he's going to want to make Havdalah ala kois. So therefore, the person is going to think, the one watching is thinking, let me not bury the money because maybe this guy's going to want to come buy wine that's ala kois. He's going to buy wine to make Havdalah ala kois. Oh, everybody has to make Havdalah ala kois, right? So good, because he may want to be yotzi with somebody else, but mitzvah by yotzi mishulcha, so maybe he wants to make his own Havdalah. But isn't it the shchichi gishushay? And nowadays that it's common to have gishushay. Because gishushay is people that hit the ground. I think the equivalent of what those guys do on the ocean. We just had it. We had it in the metal
detectors.
Metal detectors. So now that you have those guys, ein lem shmira ela b'shmei kaira. Then the only way to put it is put it into the roof. And nowadays that we have frumai, which are people that I guess that are looking for the money in the roof, ein lem shmira ela b'nei urbi. Then the only place to put it is in between the bricks, in between the rows of bricks of the house. Amar Rav, Maida Shmuel b'kaisel, and Shmuel is Maida that you could also put it into the wall. But in the shchichi tfuchai, and nowadays that it's common to have tfuchai. Those are people that are tafach. They hit the wall to find hollow spots, right? They have stud, what do you call it? Stud finder, right? And they find the hollow spots. Ein lem shmira ella b'tefach hasamach l'karka. So then, but they're too lazy to bend down to go that close to the ground. Over the tefach that's closest to the roof, because there they don't go. Fine. So that's a proper way to watch money. So chametz, that pile of bricks fell on it. It's as if it's destroyed. Meaning, even if you know that there's chametz under there, the assumption is the chametz will never see the light of day, that you have to get rid of that chametz. If a dog can't get to it, then it's not a problem. Tana kama chapitzas kelev gimel tvachim. How much is searching for a kel? How much is a kelev? What's his smell? His smell will go down 3 tvachim. So just before we go weiter, this is where the halacha comes out, and you don't have to remove your refrigerator and ovens and heavy furniture that never gets moved. That's considered chametz shenafel lamapaylas, and you're not mechuyev to move it. Right? So when my cleaning lady last week moved the oven, and there was tons of chametz over there, I told her, we really don't have to move the oven. And she looks at me, she said, "What do you mean? Look how much chametz is here." So she's telling me, she was giving me mussar that there's plenty of chametz there. So I say, you know what? I'm not going to discuss it with you going now. But even if there was chametz there, you don't have to.
Why put the mouse stomach from one place to another place?
Yes.
So why aren't you worried that a mouse will take it out from
I
there?
don't think a mouse can get under there.
Yeah, a mouse can get behind their ovens.
What?
Yes, a mouse can get behind their ovens.
Yeah, but we're afraid he's going to take that chametz to his own hole, not drag it and leave it. Right. Anyway, so what's the shaila? So the shaila here is hachamai. Me being a shlosh tvachim elad. So we're saying for chametz you need 3 tvachim, but for money does it need to be 3 tvachim or not? Right. So amarle hasam mishum reicha be'inan gimel tvachim there because the dog needs to not smell it, so you need 3 tvachim to block the smell. Hacham mishum echsuye. You need it hidden from the eye, so you don't need 3 tvachim. There's another line I don't understand. The kama amara from misikra tefach. It's a tefach. Why?
Hidden from the eye.
Hidden from the eye shouldn't need a tefach.
What should it need?
A coating.
No, but that could blow over easily.
So is that what it means? That it means that we're afraid a tefach will not blow away,
Yeah.
or a dog. Well, I'm saying I don't know. Why tefach? Okay, I'm not sure. Who gavra da'afkid zuzi gabi chavrit? So it was a guy who left money by his friend for him to watch. And he put the money in like a tent made out of branches. What Rashi says, it's like one of those camouflage tents that the hunters hide in order to look natural. Right? So Ignav, and then it got stolen from there. Some of Yosef even though for Ganovim it's considered Nitirusa, means it's considered watched. Right? From the word Niture Karta. Right? So it's considered watched. The Indian Naira, the Indian Nura, Shiuse, but for fire, it's obviously not a very responsible place because those pieces of wood and leaves can go up on fire very easily. So have a tchilasa b'pshia b'sayv b'aynes chayav. So the tchila was with a pshia, right, and it ended up with an aynes. Then he's chayav, because again it wasn't proper. Bikadami, some said the other way around. Nura pshia. So even though for fire it was a pshia, then in ganvin itirusi, but for ganovim it's considered watch. If tchilasa b'pshia b'sayv b'aynes potter. And if in the beginning the guy was negligent, but then what ended up happening was it ended up getting an aynis, so then it's potter.
What's the pshia? What's going to happen to the coins if the thing goes on fire?
Huh?
What's going to happen? He was mafkid zuzi, money. That's metal coins. So if someone lights the branches, what's going to happen to the coins? Nothing.
Oh, I thought his coin's just going to get ruined.
How? Was scared that this hut made out of branches is going to reach 2,000 degrees somehow?
I don't know. But I thought maybe if it just gets black, then it'll stop.
You can wipe that off of metal. It's just soot.
What?
It's just soot. You can wipe it off. It's not going to do anything to metal, a little fire like that.
You mean, how do you know it's a little fire?
It's in a little hut. It's in a hide.
That could be just part of a larger fire. No? Okay, I don't know. I thought it seems like the money back then was finicky. Right? It loses its tzura and it stops working, right? We have all the decayed money that's coming up in Azov. Right?
There's no difference in the cases as far as cause of Bashir Sabiboinus. It's only
It's too low. Let's understand it. What was the tchilas of B'shia?
in the first case.
For fire. He put it in a place that fire wouldn't be able to be protected.
That's
a pshia.
That's the first case.
And the einus is that it got stolen
Right.
from there. But for einus, it was considered a good shmira.
For stealing was considered good shmira.
What?
For stealing was considered good shmira.
For stealing was a good shmira. Fire it was not.
Okay, that's the second case. Or the first case.
They're both the same cases. Just a matter of whether we paskin tchilas of B'shia of einus is potter or chayiv. What?
The first case.
I'll tell you, there's only one case in the Gemara.
It's one case, just a matter of
It's both where it's good for Gneva, not good for fire. I thought they switched that.
no.
Yes, both the same.
What do
It's
I think this?
It's just a matter of whether we hold tchilas of B'shia of einus is potter or chayiv. That's all. That's the only difference. The ilchasa tchilas of B'shia of einus chayiv. Fine. Who gavra difkid zuzi gabi chavis? It was a guy who gave the money to his friend. Like Rachamim said, he's a shomer chinam because that's why he's his friend. So Amar Lei havli zuzai says, "Give me back my money." Amar Lei lo yadaina. I guess he wasn't such a good friend. Lo yadaina heifa esminu. I have no idea where I put it. He forgot it. Also, Lakamei, the Rabbi came from Amar Lei call lo yadaina pshuti. If you say you don't know, you're a pesheya. Zil shlim, and you got to go pay. Fine. Who gavra the ifkid zuzi gabi chavri? There was a guy who put his money by his friend. Ashlaminu leime. He gave it to his mother to watch. Poisfinu bekar Lisa, and she put it into a box. Rashi has an argus. It's like a dresser or something. The ignav, and it got stolen from there. So again, the guy gave it to his mother to watch. It's just like Ty, right? Ty the mechanic. His mother, she's still alive. He take all his cash. He got cash, and his mother, the old lady sitting over there, she was the bank. He gave it to her. I guess he assumed that no crooks would go after her for the money, right? So he gave the money to. So this guy gave the money to his mother, and then it got stolen from her. So I'm not sure why. If that's like a tongue twister. How should the dayanim dan this din? Right? Name a lay. L'didei zil shlim, tell the man that he should pay. Amar on some days now. Kol hamafkir al das ishtay obanav hu mafkir. Where we know that when you give something to somebody to watch, the person understands that this guy will, let's say, he has to run out to Ma'ariv, so he's going to tell his wife or his kids, "Hey, keep an eye on this guy's money," or something like that. You know that, and Rashi says it means a mother too. I mean, anybody is part of the household. Okay, so we can't go after him. So maybe the mother was considered irresponsible. Amra, my son never told me that it's not his, or that I should bury it. Okay, so name a lay. Why didn't you tell your mother that the money wasn't yours and she should watch it well? Amar, he said, Kol shekain, amin Allah, the didinin who famous darabu. I thought for sure if I tell her it's my money or I don't tell her anything, she thinks it's my money. So then for sure she's going to watch it better. Elo amarava mishtave iu dahanu zuzi ashlaminu leime. So what do? He swears that he gave the money to his mother. And then the mother swears that she put it into this box, and then it got stolen, upater, and then he is pater. Right? And of course the mother is pater. Because they did proper shmira. Right? And she's not considered a pesheya. Fine. Next story. This story also I don't get clearly what's going on with this story. So Hahu Apatropa, there was an Apatropa the Yasmi, there was an apatropa of the Yasmi, the Zavan Lahutura Yasmi. So this apatropas bought an ox for the Yisayim that he was in charge of, Masri Levakra, and then he gave it over to a bucker, to a cattle guy. But it was missing its teeth. Lamechal, in order to eat, because it didn't have teeth, so it died. So now the question is, who is on the hook for this? How should the dayan die? Should they go to the apatropas and say you have to pay for it because hey, you bought a faulty cow for these Yisayimim? Omar, he said, Anola Vakar Masarti. He says, I gave it over to the cattle guy. Right? He should have told me that there's something wrong with my ox. Namely Levakar Zil Shlim. Okay, so we'll go to the cattle guy and tell him that he has to pay. Omar, Anabadi Turia, I just took the cow or ox or whatever it was and put it with the rest of them. I didn't give it a physical. Right? Ukhla Shadaile, and I threw food at it. Meaning he threw food at the animals. How am I supposed to know? I didn't watch to make sure each animal eats. So who's going to be on the hook here? So I'm going to ask Michti. Braka Shomer Sacher the Yasmihu. The Bakra is a Shomer Sacher, right? He was getting paid for his job. Part of his job is to check to see what's going on. So my answer is if there would have been a loss here to the Yisayim, then correct. There was no loss to the Yisayim. The Yisayim or the Apatropa found out about the shor, that it was faulty, and they went after and they got their money back, meaning because of Mekach Tois. Right? So Memela, there was never any loss to the Yisayim. Okay, so then if there was no loss to Yisayim, so who's complaining? Elaman Katan, who is the one that's asking for money? Mari the Tura Katan. The owner of the ox, the Mekach Tois, he's asking for money from the Apatropa because he baila leidion. He should have told me that my animal that I sold him had no teeth. Why didn't he tell me about it? So the Gemara says, "My moedinale." What were we supposed to tell him? Made the yoda the Mekach Tois hava. He knew that he was selling a bad cow. How did he not know? My answer is the safsira. So we're not talking about where he was dealing with the original owner of the shor. We're talking about a safsira. He was what do you call it? An agent. He's an agent, or either an agent or a flipper.
Like a broker might be.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem sound like it sounds like a reseller.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zavin mehacha umazin lahacha. What he does, he buys here and sells there. He doesn't know anything, right? He's just swapping animals. He's selling it on eBay or Amazon.
Yeah, because it's a real estate agent. He doesn't know nothing about houses.
Right. Yeah, he's just flipping things. Hilkach. Okay, so what's the psak? Hilkach mishtave ihu the loyha v'yada. So he's swearing that he didn't know. U'mashalim bakra the meibasa b'zol. And this is an interesting psak right here. So he swears that he didn't know, meaning the owner swears he didn't know, and then the cattle guy has to pay the may basar bezol. He has to buy it at a cheap rate, right? Meaning whatever, because the animal died, so whatever they sold the meat for, he has to pay. So Rashi says 2/3, right? Now, this is your good old, what we call a pshia, not a pshia, pshara. Call it a compromise, because where do you see that he has to pay, but he only has to pay a cheap rate? Either he's on the hook or he's off the hook. And so far, I mean, we're a third of the way through Bava Metzia and all the way through Bava Kama. As far as I remember, we have not come to a pshara case. We've said that a good bezdin makes pshara, but we never came to a psak, as far as I know, that there's a pshara here. So here, according to Rashi at least, he was a pshara. He made a pshara. So first of all, it's not the assignment's loss. But Rashi says Rami Bar Chama had Rachmanis on him because he had a good taina. Yes, it was irresponsible of him. He should have given this animal a physical. But the bottom line is that he did what he normally does. He took the shar and he took it into his whatever it's called, flock, I don't know what it's called, and his herd, right? He put it into his herd and he dumped it there. So it's a shtickle of good taina. So Rashi says that's why it's a psharim. But Tosfos, there's a small little Tosfos there that says no, it was a din gomerhu, right? Because had he said, had he told the safsira, the middleman, that by the way, you're flipping a shar that's got no teeth, he would have shechted it right away and he would have sold it for cheap, right? So Mamela, that's why he doesn't have to pay the full amount. Meaning the guy would have been. He's going to say, listen, your animal's going to die soon. It's got no teeth. It can't eat. So he's going to quickly sell it before even the market opens, in which case it was sort of like a fire sale. So he would not be able to sell it for the full price. What would he be able to sell it for? About 2/3 of the price. So therefore, he's only on the hook. The guy in charge of the animals is only on the hook for 2/3. It's a very interesting machlokes Rashi touches. Again, Rashi is saying it's a pshara because they had Rachmanis on him because he had a good a shtickle, an excuse, and tells you no, it's not a pshar. It says regular din. Fine. Okay, Hahu Gavra, last story for the daf. Hahu Gavra, the Ifkin Kshusa Gabi Chavre. So there was this one guy that he left Kshusa is basically beer or hops. What you put into beer. Havalela Nami carried Kshusa. He also had a pile of Kshusa, meaning we saw this yesterday, right? That the guy, 2 days ago, the guy can mix in. No, yes, 2 days ago. Yeah, that the guy can mix in his fruit and stuff with other people's. So, anyways, so he had his own, and he was watching for somebody else. Amarle Lasar says, so he told his slave or whatever, his assistant, "May hi Rami, go take hops for me from this pile. Azal Rami Meidach." And of course, the assistant went and took it from the wrong pile. So basically, he took it from the guy's pile who was supposed to be watching. How are the Dayanim going to be done this? Name a if they're going to tell the watchman go pay. I told him to get it. I didn't do anything wrong. My worker did something wrong. Name a Lasar says il shlim. Okay, so we'll go to the worker and say he should pay. He never told me not to go to the other pile. He just told me to go to this pile. I ended up going to a different pile. How am I supposed to know? He didn't tell me not to. You could just see this happening. This does happen. I was trying to think of examples, but it happens where the instructions are not clear, and somebody tells you to go get something, right? And I mean, truth is, I just remembered now. Right, sometimes my wife will tell me to go get something from the freezer. Right, so I'll get it. It looks good. I take the first one. Looks pretty good to me what it is, but it ends up being something total roast that she plans on cooking for a different meal on Yom Tif or whatever. Right, and now I totally botched it. Right, so I say, well, you didn't tell me not to take that one. You told me to get a piece of meat. I mean, it's all meat to me. I'm not parrots, So and now I so now I messed it up. Right. Okay, anyway, so that would be the case. So, okay, so whose fault is it? That's the Gemara's question. Amar, so the shir lasuye. So if it took him long enough, meaning, let's say it would take him a minute, it should take him a minute to get the hops, and really took him 5 minutes. So then it's his fault. I mean, what took so long, right? So meaning, why did the boss tell him? Meaning. Again, it's you tell him it's right there in the front of the freezer. Guy comes back 5 minutes later with it instead of coming back a minute later. So you ask, like, hey, what took you so long? Well, I got it from this and this spot, or the opposite. So he said, no, you took from the wrong place, right? It would be mucha from how long it took the guy. The owner should realize that. Then it's gali on the das that it was nicha for him, right? Because he didn't tell him that he got it from the wrong spot. So Gemara says, but the loy shot, somewhere where it didn't take him a long time. Okay, so I say, my pseidika. What's the loss? Right? Meaning let him pay, because what happened? The guy went and took the hops and put it into the watchman, into the shomer's beer. Good, so pay for what you did. You benefited from it, so go pay. Right? What's the big deal? Right? Samar of Sama, Breda Rava, Dahava Shichra Chala. No, it's talking about where his beer became vinegar. Right, so there was nothing to be gained, right, from it. Ravash, that's one teretz. Ravashi Omar Bekisi. It's talking about where it had thorns growing on the hops. That's where Rashi says it. Meaning, so I guess it's not, if you have hops with thorns growing on it, probably not the greatest quality hops in the world. So Bekisi on Tamar Aleph, Umbashalim Law B'mei Kisi. And basically what he has to do is he has to pay the worth of hops that had thorns in it. Right? Meaning he has to pay that because he took good hop, meaning his own hops had thorns. The hops that he was watching didn't have thorns. So let's say the beer was, instead of being worth $5, now it's worth $6. So that $1 he has to pay to the owner because that's how much he benefited from it. So there's two teruts. In the first teretz, he didn't benefit anything from it. The second teretz is that he benefited a little from it. So that's what he would have to pay. Okay, short, sweet, and to the point. All right, we'll stop over there. Say it to him.